BeatMower.
Hey, it's Mary from Pingwa. Welcome. So glad you're here. We're going to look today at adding a timer to your game or story, and that's another way to make things more difficult and challenging if you're making a different level. So here we have the Critter Chorus game. It has 2 levels that we set up last time, and in the second level, after we get 5 points in the first level, we switch to the backdrop of the Arctic. So when the backdrop switches to the Arctic, we're going to add in a timer. A timer is a variable, so we need to go to the deep orange variable blocks, and we will be setting the timer to 0, but first we need to make that variable. Here you can see I did make a variable already, but let's go from the very beginning to see how to do this. So you go up to the Make a Variable box and you click on it and you give your new variable a name. Because we're in this stage, this variable will be available to all sprites, and it's telling me I already have made that variable. That's okay. So here we are in the stage menu, and when the backdrop switches to the Arctic, let's drag in that set variable to, and we're going to use the little drop down menu accessed by that little arrow in the middle of the box to choose timer, and we can make that number whatever we want it to be. I'm going to choose 15. So it's going to count down from 15. Back into the control blocks, we're going to need a repeat until block because we want the timer to keep counting down until something. So repeat until, notice the shape of this hole. Repeat until something equals something. So we have this first hole. Repeat until the timer is what we want to put in there. So we're going to go back to the deep orange variables, and that timer circle can actually be dragged out and put right inside that hole. So at the beginning of the game, or not the beginning of the game, but the beginning of the level, when the backdrop switches to the Arctic, set timer to 15, repeat until the timer equals 0. I'm going to have it count down to 0. And we need that timer to keep changing, to keep counting down. So inside that repeat until, we're going to drag in that change timer by, and we want it to go down, not up, so we're going to put a negative number, -1. So change, and you get to choose your variable. In this case, we want timer by -1. So let's see how that works. We've started the game, and let's take a look at it bigger. And we can see the critters here getting the mics. If I get the mic to them in time and touch them with the microphone, then I get a point. And look at that variable. Wow, that went down really quickly. So we need to add something to our code so that the timer doesn't go down so quickly. Now here you can look at, if you, on the stage, because it's checked marked beside it, it's going to show on the stage this variable of timer. And we can choose, by right-clicking on it, we can choose which way we want that timer to be showing. We can have a normal readout, a large readout, or a slider. Well, a slider doesn't make much sense for a timer. It might for other variables, but I've chosen, I like the large readout for that one, where you just see the number for the timer. So change timer by -1, but we need to add something. What do we need to add so that the timer doesn't go down quite so quickly? Yes, we need a wait block. And remember this wait block, we have that value bubble in the middle of it, and we can put whatever we want in there. So repeat until the timer equals 0, and I've got wait 1 second because I want it to count down 1 second at a time. Let's test that. Okay, so we have the critters getting their points in a moment. Once the action begins, I need to get the microphone to the critter who is speaking to get points, and I can see the points, that variable changing and increasing. And once we get 5 points, we'll switch to the second level, to the Arctic backdrop, and that's when the timer will begin. And we can see if we've now made the correct code to make the timer work well. And I'm watching that timer go down, and it is going down at a reasonable rate. And the race is on now in this level for me to get as many points as I can before the timer runs out. And there the timer has run out, but oh, look at this. Hey, 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 the game is still continuing. We need to do something to make the game stop when the timer stops. So we're going to into those orange control blocks and get that stop all. Drop it at the bottom of the repeat until, and now let's test again. So there goes the timer's going down, and let's see if everything stops when the timer stops. And it did. The timer ran out of time and the game stopped. Perfect. Thanks so much for watching. I'm so glad you were here. I hope you enjoyed watching how to make a timer for your game. And there's another challenge card, timer with sound. I challenge you to try that. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. I'm so glad you were here. Tune into pingua.com for lots more fun.